Start Over Strong, Life After a DUI, a podcast for people, not offenders. Brought to you by Smart Start, the nation's most trusted, judgment-free ignition interlock provider. Hello and welcome to our episode today. What is an ignition interlock device, also known as a car breathalyzer? We're going to get into all things IIDs, but first I wanted to share a little story. I recently shared that my 5-year-old is now in kindergarten, and it's been very exciting. And the first day of school comes, and the night before, we're doing all the things. We have our ready confetti, which is this cool confetti that our teacher gave us to put under the pillow. It ensures that, they have a great year and a good night's sleep. And of course, she's the boss of the household. So she's rocking her CEO perspective, and we're looking at our closet, and she decides that she's going to pick out what she's going to wear. And it's one of those mom moments where you just know you have to kind of relinquish control. So I said, okay, honey, what do you want to wear? And she picks out this adorable bright red cherry dress. I'm like, this is so cute. And then like a totally different color, boots, and then totally different color earrings. And then she's like, I want to wear my cowgirl vest. Now, this cowgirl vest is like a cow print vest with fringe. I'm like, just go for it, girl. So she went and made her splash, and it was really cute and adorable. But tell me about your weekend. How things going?
Yeah, a lot of great things for back to school. The boys, same thing, similar, getting their fits together before school. They got their fades all done. The haircut's done really good before. And then my youngest, he's 11. He's going to be a sixth grader. Reminded me that I had promised that we'd start shopping for puppies when we went back to school.
Puppy shopping.
Yeah, so we started that
process. Is Morgan invited?
Yes, absolutely. You can get final approval on the tier 3, but yeah. So we started the puppy process. Put a deposit down. We're looking at a charcoal Labradors, so that's something that we're excited about. They'll be ready at the end of September. So, kind of told them like, hey, this should be your motivation to get through the first couple of months of school, and we can pick up a puppy at the end of September.
Okay, so I'm interested in charcoal Labrador, quite specific. And I think it's interesting. People have different lanes that they usually stay in when they make purchase decisions. Speaking of purchase decisions, talk to me about ignition interlock devices. As far as I'm concerned, there are more than one option out there. Is that true?
Yeah, so lots of options. I think, the industry sprung up about 30 years ago, and there's a lot of smaller businesses that started. They've all kind of gotten purchased by private equity, and their models changed a lot. So, a lot of them is a lot of the model now is how many units you can have active. And that's kind of been the push. As states have opened up to more competition, there's been fierce competition within the type of sales that has happened, and they've hired actually more high pressure salespeople. Smart Start, being family owned for a while and 30 years in the industry, the approach that I was told to take was as an advisor. So as we started the team and refreshed them, we've been really focused on the empathetic sale. Seeking to understand, asking lots of questions, taking our time. So when you talk to one of our program advisors, they're going to be very knowledgeable when it comes to state specifics. They're going to be very knowledgeable when it comes to the way that the program works. They're going to ask questions about your experience. They're going to be empathetic and really kind of walk you through a process, which is difficult for a lot of people. So that's the philosophy we've taken at Smart Start, and we're going to continue that way.
That's great, right? Mm-hmm. Stigma-free.
Stigma-free, absolutely.
IID.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just jump into it. We are going to show the device today. We're going to show ours. For those that are not watching and that are listening, I will describe the device in great detail so that you can get an understanding for it. And we're going to do a live time with the device. So we'll do, Izzy will blow into the device, and we'll show how that works, and everybody that's listening can hear how that works. So, okay, I am in a situation where I find myself with a DUI, and I am told I need an ignition interlock device. So I'm generally searching, or I'm being told from my attorney that this is the company you want to work with. It's most of the time Smart Start. We are the number one provider. And so this is a car breathalyzer. What happens next? I end up on the phone with a program advisor at Smart Start. So what do they do? What can I expect?
Yeah, of course, we're getting basic information, right? It is absolutely important that we get all the information correct. So when we give that information back to your monitoring authority, it's correct, right? So correct name on your driver's license or on the citation, depending on the state, is important. So first, middle, last name, we're going to ask for that information. It's critical that we have that correct. All it takes is the flip-flopping of a name or the misspelling, and you're not getting credit for the time that you have the device, which is not what we want. We want to make sure that you start the program, you're getting credit, you get through the amount of time that you've been mandated to have the device, and then you can get it out. So that's critical. So we're gathering that information from you.
And the monitoring authority. Okay, so I get the IID. I'm calling in to start and initiate this process with a program advisor. You're collecting my identity information because it's being reported.
Correct.
So I'm told, or I'm convicted, and I'm told by a judge or my state, my DMV, regardless of the type of state I'm in, if it's compliance-based or judicial, etc., that I need an IID. So I'm starting to get it installed. But as I'm blowing into the IID later, I want those results, and those results have to go and be reported to a monitoring authority.
That is part of the program, right? So there's a lot of factors to understand within having an IID.
Yeah.
But essentially, as we've discussed, it's not just the device. You want a trustworthy device, a functional device, but you want the program to be the right program. So you want to have a portal. You want to make sure your monitoring authorities getting the correct information, and that's where SmartStart's really different.
Okay, and I know that SmartStart is known for being really the industry titan in terms of technology. The device works amazingly well. We're going to look at it in just a moment here, but our relationships with monitoring authorities they're unprecedented.
Second to none. Yeah, we have a team of business development representatives out in the field.
Okay.
They are establishing relationships with judges, with attorneys, with counties, with DMVs, to make sure that we have that partnership.
Yeah.
And the information that they are getting from our devices in our program is accurate, and people are getting credit for it. It's their goal to get people off the IID as well.
Well, so the likelihood of me going violation free, I've got this installed in my vehicle and I'm blowing into it and I'm going violation free, the likelihood that those results are going to be sent appropriately in a timely way to my monitoring authority are very high.
Yes.
Okay. So now that I'm on the phone, I'm telling you I'm in, for example, the state of Texas. Why does that matter versus how SmartStart does it versus like a competitor, for example?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest factors are that the way we set up our programs, right?
Okay.
So there's different programs, different links, different types of things that are included within each state or sometimes county.
Okay.
So giving the correct information where you reside, where you receive the violation is critical, right? So the questions we're asking are not meant to be intrusive. They are meant to help you set up the program for success.
So I don't end up, for example, in a contract with a competitor that's for a year when my situation, my specific state, my specific county is only for 6 months.
6 months, 9 months, whatever the time is, right? So that's very unique to us, to SmartStart, is that we are not going to lock you into a contract.
Great.
It is month to month. So if you are able, if we won't require the minimum of 1 year. So if it is a 9-month program, you will have the device for only 9. If you get off earlier, you'll be able to shorten that time period, which is unique to us in the industry.
Okay. So you're gathering my information, you're collecting my information and establishing the specifics of my program.
Correct.
Once that happens, I'm assuming I set up like an installation appointment.
Right. Correct. That's the other thing that we're doing for you. So we do have corporate shops, but sometimes we're working through partnerships with different shops, right? They could be somebody that we're co-locating space with, or that we're working with, and they're collecting the installation fee, right? It is kind of it is a business for them as far as them collecting revenue. So what we try to do is to make sure that we set you up in the closest shop to your location, because you will be going back there to do calibrations. So we want to get you close. We are able to find the closest shop to you. We gather information about your vehicle. Each vehicle is unique. Each vehicle is different. This is hardwired into your car.
Okay.
So it is a low voltage installation. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we gather the most accurate information to gather the closest that we can to the installation cost.
Okay.
So that's very dependent on a lot of things, right? Cars that are older are not necessarily push to start. They're key activated. So those are more affordable to install.
Sure.
Push to start's a little bit more expensive. Can be a little bit more pricey. And then hybrid's a completely different thing, right? So if you have a hybrid or an electric vehicle, we do deal with exotics. You know, there are people that are bringing their Lamborghinis in, their Cullens in, people that are bringing in their, exactly. So we are installing in high-end cars, and those could be a little bit more complex. I drive a German car. They basically
I would drive a German car.
They basically said, hey, installing in your car would be very expensive. So those are the types of things that are all factored in to getting you the price for shop. So we try to land in a range within $50 to kind of tell you where that installation is going to be.
Okay, so that's wonderful. So We'll talk about calibrations too, because I heard you say that and I want everybody to be aware of what that means. So, an ignition interlock device is a car breathalyzer that connects to my ignition.
Correct.
Okay. And this breathalyzer is used as a preventative measure to prevent me from drinking and driving.
Right. So not only will it check your blood alcohol level, but it will prevent the start of the vehicle
Okay.
if you're over the limit.
Understood. The device itself, true or false, also has a camera.
So it's state specific, but in most situations, most states, and it's starting to be in most states, will have a camera, right? They want to ensure that the person that is blowing to the device registering is the person that incurred the violation, right? So
Okay, so I can't give it to my 13.
no, you can't have your 13-year blowing. You
for
can't have your friend blowing. I know there's some TikToks and stuff that went viral a few months ago, but there's accountability to the program, right? So
Yeah.
we actually have people within our compliance department that are matching the pictures to make sure that that is happening. And I know that there's new technology that'll basically have AI take that over. So AI will be able to register whether or not the person blowing in, registering on the camera, is the person that has received the violation.
Okay, understood. I have seen the TikTok videos that you're talking about, and I know that there are several. They've just been plain, but they're from like I think 10 years
They're
ago.
very old. Yeah, I we have a device expert, Steve Luce, who was on the podcast earlier, and
Yeah.
he knows all about. So when I showed him that video, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's a device that we got rid of a long time ago." So
Yeah, so most of those are out of market completely. So
Correct.
you unfortunately cannot take like a
leaf
home
blower,
DeWalt
yeah.
leaf blower and put it into the device and, you know,
Mhm.
basically go violation free in that sense.
Yes.
And so IIDs, they are, and I would encourage, right, those listening. We do have a big Reddit community, Reddit and subreddit DUI. Great place to land if you're someone that ends up with a DUI. This is your first DUI, you're a first time offender. And I don't like the word offender. It's a dirty word for me, and it's a dirty word at Smart Start because we don't see the infraction. We see the person. That's important to us. That's why we're stigma free. We believe in life after mistakes. Sometimes it takes people more than 2 to 3 times, but that's our position. And so for me, when I'm thinking about someone in that moment who's searching online frantically and they end up on Reddit, they can see that the community is actually quite accountable. You want to go violation free, and there actually is eventually, maybe not at first, but the perception, and you come around and you realize this device is not here to trap me. This device is here to help me, and it's for prevention and it's for public safety. After all, I mean, we are a public safety company. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you talk to a lot of, I've had the ability to listen to a high volume of our calls, right? So
Yeah.
kind of the things that people that receive DWI, DUIs is seeking to understand, right? A lot of them are very remorseful. A lot of them are very normal situations that they put into that have found themselves on the other end of
Sure.
this, right? And so a lot of it is like, how can I accomplish this program quicker? People are calling in very early, even before they've been mandated by a court or an attorney to call in just to seek information. And there is very much accountability to it. I think, whenever you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to achieve a goal, be it a personal health goal, especially if you find a community that's supportive, it's much easier for you, right? So we try to be there on the front end of that to answer any questions, to help people understand it's a process, to put them at ease, to let them know that we talk to tens of thousands of people a month that are in a very similar situation.
Sure.
And trying to help them work through the process.
Yeah.
So I do definitely think, that there's opportunity for people to overcome, and we see people successful in the program every single day.
Yeah, this is just a chapter of your life. It's a season of your life. We're here to help you through that. We see it as a program. We're not going to get you locked into some crazy contract. It's month to month. We're stigma free. And if it were me, if it were a friend of mine or a family member, I would want them to be with a company that treats them like a person. And there's accountability there. It sounds like for the majority of our customer group, and eventually they get there. These devices, ignition interlock devices, are designed to keep our roads safer, to keep you accountable, and to go violation free. When you don't go violation free, you can end up with some pretty significant consequences. Can you talk to me about what those consequences might be?
Yeah, again, it's dependent on the state, but one thing that's pretty universal is they will lengthen the term, right? So if you have violations, you will more than likely lengthen the term. You could start at 6 months, you can start at a year, and then you have a violation, they push it another year, they push it another 2 years. And there's people that start a program that have it for several years past what they were supposed to have from the initial consequences. So, there's a big population of the people that get an IID that don't drink at all, and then there's people that drink enough to stay under the violation, right? So it's just very dependent, I think. And I think some people, it takes more than one time getting it, or it takes longer than the initial period that they were asked to have by the judge or the court to get through it, right? So through that process, we have a support team that's going to help you there. We have shops that are going to help you there. And ultimately, like, our end goal is to have you come in and remove your device because you completed the program.
Yeah, that's great. We celebrate removal comparative to competitors that are upset that they're losing revenue.
Right.
You talked about cost for a minute. How much does an ignition interlock device cost?
Again, very dependent on the state. I mean, there's three big factors when it comes to pricing. The first one is going to be an enrollment fee, and that's basically the standard price, depending on the state, that you pay in order to set up the monitoring between you, the device, and the monitoring authority.
Okay.
Right. So that's just part of it. That's something that we need to collect in order for the program to start.
Okay.
The second portion is going to be the installation. So again, as we talked about at the top of the show, is that's dependent on the type of vehicle you have.
Sure.
And there's some states that have one fee. That's just what they mandate. And there's others that you can pay a range. And then again, it's very dependent on the complexity of your vehicle. Exotic cars are going to be a lot more than your 2005 Toyota Camry. Like, that's just the way it's going to be.
Understood.
And then the bigger, usually more expensive, more pricey portion of if it is going to be your lease fee on the device, right? So you're not purchasing the device, you're leasing it. These devices are very expensive in order to purchase. It would be very pricey. So you're going to lease the fee monthly, pay a leasing fee monthly, and that's inclusive of the rental or the lease, and then usually a protection plan in case the device is damaged. What's unique about what Smart does is we do offer roadside rescue too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, amazing thing. So that's kind of inclusive of all factors of your car. But if you're having problems with your ID and for a reason you're locked out, you don't want to get stranded on the side of the road somewhere, we actually are able to cover part of your towing costs. I think it's up to 150. Our program advisors can tell you more specifically, but there is components of that. Yeah, exactly. I highly recommend that. So those are the parts of the pricing.
Okay.
The lease fee is very much dependent on the state.
I heard though that it's generally like as low as like $1.99 a day.
It's not pricey if you break it out that way. And then the way that we do is we do biweekly payments.
Okay, great.
So that way it's coming out when you get paid too as well. So people get paid, it comes out. So it can be as low as $1.99. So again, there is revenue involved. We are a for-profit company, but the whole point is to get you through the program. And our pricing is extremely competitive. I would say some of the lower in the industry for the reputation of the company that we have.
Okay, and to be honest, if I'm someone who's listening to this, I'm like dying to know what it's going to cost for me. So I want you to talk about how they can just call in and have a free consultation with us and learn very quickly what this is going to cost them and get a very quick idea.
Yeah, it's funny, when I started in this industry, like most places I work, people would ask me, how much does something cost, right? Or I can tell them how much something costs, right?
Yeah.
And it's so specific to the state that each county can be different. There's agreements we have with certain counties. We're very big in Texas, and each county we work through the pricing with them. So call our program advisors. They're going to be the best guide for you. They'll ask you questions. They'll kind of really seek to understand where you're at, where you receive the violation, where you reside, and they're going to get you the pricing that's best for you.
Okay, that's wonderful.
And I know you're going to have a discount code for them at the end, right?
I do. If you want your first 2 payments free, you can use coupon code stigma-free, and you will get your first 2 payments free, which is incredible. So use it stigma-free for anybody that needs an IID. All right, I really want to look at the device. I want to talk about the device. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and do a quick review of what the device looks like, feels like, how it works. And we're going to do a live presentation, and Izzy's going to go through and he's going to blow into the device. Again, the device designed to measure your blood alcohol level, your BAC, connected to your ignition and functioning as an ignition interlock device. So if you have a high BAC, it's going to not start your vehicle. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. So it'll stop your vehicle from being started, right? And I think I forget the stat. We'll probably have to put it in later, but I think last year was close to 1 million drunk starts we stopped, right?
Wow.
So it's very much something that you can actually look at numbers that relate to how many times we stopped somebody from starting their vehicle that was impaired.
Okay. And we will go through common misconceptions and myths as well, which I know people are very eager to see. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the device set up, and I will describe what it looks like for those that are listening. So Izzy, let's take it away.
Okay, so here's our device, and I'm going to plug it in. This, because it is not currently installed, as soon as I plug it in, it's going to card, it'll start beeping. As you can see, it's pretty sleek. It's small, about the size of an iPhone, maybe a little bit smaller, not too much thickness to it. It does have a numerical pad that you'll basically be able to do commands on. So this is what the device looks like.
We do have as well the Flex device, which is super sleek. There's only 3 buttons on it. That's for different purposes. This is generally the device that most folks go with. They like it because there's a keypad and functionality there. We have found in studies that for whatever reason, this is what people prefer. And I did want to mention that the mouthpiece is removable, that little plastic piece that you can take on and off. You can wash it, you can get a new one. We give them out like candy.
Yeah, if sanitary reasons, you want to have a fresh mouthpiece when you can, and we'll include those. But yeah, our device is unique as far as these are reused, right? They're refurbished, right? Ours is one of the more sanitary devices, probably the most sanitary because of the blow pattern that we use. So the reason this is more sanitary is that it is a different pattern. And yeah, industry wise, this is recognized as one of the smaller, more sleek devices and one of the more engineered products that we have.
So we have this cord that plugs into the device. And so those that are listening, I'm not going to plug it in because it's going to start beeping, which we'll do in a moment. But there's, I would say it's a 2 to 3 foot spiral cord. It is black, quite spongy. You know, it's got some resistance there when I pull it. And so one side plugs into the device. The other side of the cord goes into the bottom of the vehicle through and connects to the ignition. And then it is black. I would say, again, I would describe it as being a little bit smaller than an iPhone. You can see how big it is in my hand here. And there is a keypad on the front. There is a red button, yellow button, orange button, as well as side-to-side buttons and a number pad, 1 through 9 with a star, a pound sign, and a 0. Our logo is on there. And then at the top of it, there's a screen kind of right in the middle. And then above the screen is that blow portion. That's that little plastic piece that comes on and off. And it's quite light.
It is very, and we get asked all the time is how discreet is it? It is very discreet. If you look at some of the devices across the
they're not discreet. I will testify that the other devices in market are not sleek. If you're looking for a sleek, small, black little device, I would highly recommend Smart Start for that reason.
In your middle console, you can kind of put it away, which we recommend. I mean, you never want anything kind of sticking out. So
sure.
And then it is tested to a pretty high industry standards, so it's resilient. We do offer a protection plan in case you smash on the door, you do anything like that. But it is a pretty robust device.
Okay, great. For calibration as well, you come in 30, 60, 90 days, depending on your state, to get this calibrated. And at Smart Start corporate locations, it's like a drive-through. You're pulling in like you're going to get some fast food and you're just handing them the device. They're doing what they need to do. It takes a couple of minutes.
Correct.
And then you're getting it back.
Yeah, they want to make sure that the monitoring authority wants to make sure that all the information that gets back to them is accurate. So the devices do have to be calibrated.
Okay.
And yeah, our corporate devices, it's very easy. You're kind of in and out in 15 to 30 minutes. Definitely recommend if you can to schedule, call ahead, but you can just drop in just depending on where you're at. But yeah, it's a fairly easy process, and the intent is to make sure that all the information from the device is reported accurately to your monitoring authority.
Sure. You don't want to end up with violations or, heaven forbid, some type of upgrade or something that hasn't been downloaded onto your device.
Software is upgraded pretty frequently to make sure that it's done accurately. So those are all the reasons to make sure you stick to your calibration schedule.
Okay. I want to talk before we do an example of this, a demonstration about really quickly, not just violations, but ways that you can stay sober, ways that you can stay violation free, and false positives, which is a huge part of Reddit. I mean, I see false positives all the time. I know Steve Luce, he's one of our experts. He's going to be mad at me because we call them in the industry mouth contaminants, but everybody else in the world knows them as false positives. And that's a big part of the conversation. This little device, if I have mouthwash, if I eat a spicy burrito, is it going to go off for me? And so this device that I'm holding in my hand, it is designed to detect alcohol. And it works. So there is a fuel cell inside of it, and it is designed to pick up on alcohol. So if you're spraying cologne in your car, it might go off.
Mouthwash, as you mentioned, is another big one.
Yep. And we will do maybe another demonstration in another episode where we could just test it out. I've heard that people have like, if I eat bread, is it going to go off? We could just do like a table with, like a Whataburger and, some cologne, some sourdough starter, all the things. And then we can blow in it and see if it goes off. And so with that, obviously, we want to stay violation free. Does your team recommend drinking water before or after blowing into the device?
It's kind of dependent. I don't think water is going to really make too big of a difference.
Sure.
But yeah, I would always recommend don't immediately drink water and then blow into it. Like it's going to probably alter the reading.
Okay.
And you may get some false positives, not necessarily for alcohol, but to reblow.
Yeah.
So I would say I would probably recommend that you're not having a glass of water right before you blow into the device.
Sure. Okay. But accuracy is a big thing. I try to be the mouthpiece for all of our customers out there who are living through IID life, those that are anticipating it and going to get one installed in their vehicle. And false positives for me, I'm so proud of our tech stack. I talk about it all the time. This device works. You're not going to get false positives as long as you are, abstaining from alcohol before blowing into the device. So with that, let's do a demonstration.
Sounds good.
So we now have the device is plugged in and turned on. We have a green light at the top.
Initializing.
It is initializing. You can see our logo there. It says Smart Start real small on the screen. And hopefully this is going to initiate a blow here.
Yeah, it should immediately start asking for a blow as soon as it's powered on.
All right. So for the sake of our listeners, we are not going to play the beeping sound that is coming from the device. The device is beeping. It's signaling that you need to blow into it. So go ahead and blow for us. And that's it. So it's as simple as that. Thanks for showing us, Izzy, the device. We've gone through pretty much what it does, how it's installed, what happens after I get it installed, calibration. We've talked about cost today. I do want to hit on some misconceptions, myths, and truths. So I have three questions for you. Number one, is it true that an ignition interlock device is going to ruin my car?
No, and for whatever reason, that seems to be a pretty common theme across the ignition interlock device industry is, it's going to drain my battery, it's going to ruin my car. People are very, very protective of their vehicles for good reason. It's a very expensive investment, and last thing you want is, somebody installing something that's going to drain the battery or damage the car. No, especially at Smart Start, we are really proud of our field installation team. So they're trained professionals. They do a great job installing. The process can take, 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending on the complexity, but that's because it's being done right? It's being done to not drain your battery or have any long lasting damage to your vehicle. So yes, definitely do your research. But that's one thing at Smart Start we're very proud of is that you're not going to have any vehicle damage.
Okay. That's huge. Question 2, or maybe a statement. This is way too embarrassing.
I think that's another common thing is there's stigma around it, or people view it as a stigma. I think you'd be surprised how often or how many people, what percentage of the population.
It's more common than
you think. Yeah. So when I, joined the industry, people would ask me what I do, and I had a lot of people that was surprised, like, oh, I had one of those. So yeah, it depending on the individual, but I think for us, we are stigma free, and also, our device in particular is very sleek. It doesn't stand out quite a bit, and it can be easily put in your center console.
Yes, I agree. Go with the discreet, sleek option.
Yes.
All right, last one. This is a punishment.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's accountability, right? I think something has to be done to minimize the effects or the potential, lives taken or damage done for people that are driving impaired. This is a path towards accountability. It's, I feel like it's something that starts you in a program. It weans you off of that. It gets you to a point where you don't have to have one. But I think in response to for people's freedom, no, there is consequences to actions, and sometimes this is one of them. But I think the whole point is to complete the program, and to not ever have you have one of these in your vehicle again.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've touched on the fact that Smart Start is really about compassion and compliance. We're cost effective. We're stigma free. Proud of the brand. And if you're in an ignition interlock device situation, you need a car breathalyzer. I would highly recommend going with Smart Start. We do also have a pretty great deal for listeners. You can get your first 2 payments free, again, with coupon code stigma free. So I'd highly recommend that.
Yeah, absolutely. And call our program advisors or help you to start you on the process. Ask questions, get you state specific information, help explain the program. So feel free to call our program advisors. They're ready to speak to you.
Yeah. So at this point, we wanted to get in tune with some of our listeners. If you're a new listener, we do obviously have a podcast, tons of episodes. We talk about all the things from alcoholism and recovery. We've talked to the CEO of MAD, Stacey Stewart, and we've got, these little fan bases that are growing, and that's really, really cool. Our producer has kind of tuned us into some things. Izzy, it is no surprise to me that you have a hashtag that's trending, and it is Izzy Riz.
Oh.
So obviously they're obsessed that you work out and that you obviously are into daily disciplines, which is important in recovery and alcoholism. I want to give you the opportunity to drop your favorite product right now and just respond to what you think about Izzy Riz.
I love it. I think my kids would disagree because they say I have no Riz. But yeah, I think that's great. For me, I started on my journey to personal health about 8 years ago. I got the opportunity because I had to work for a really great company that was in the connected fitness industry, and they take it serious. To me, that's my therapy.
Yeah.
I believe in being at the gym in the morning. It's my accountability. It's something that's been embraced by my family. So that's a big thing for me, is being accountable to myself, to my wife, to my kids, to being at the gym, because I do want to, live a long, healthy life and make sure I'm here as long as I can. And I have cut back quite a bit on my alcohol consumption because of that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of my journey.
Okay, cool. So what's your favorite product and brand right now?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things I'm passionate about as far as wellness, personal health. I've been chasing kind of the right protein bar. For me, I'm very busy in mornings. I've never been a big morning eater, like meals. I'm not a breakfast person.
Yeah.
Breakfast is more like an indulgence on weekends versus like what I can eat quickly.
How do you get your protein in?
David protein bars, actually, and they are not paying me to say this. Through trial and error, I've really found these great protein bars. I think one of the big things is the most protein per calorie. So it's 28 grams of protein, 150 calories, great protein, and they taste really good.
It's like a candy bar.
It tastes like a candy bar. They're not overly sweet.
Would you?
No, they're not mealy. They're really mealy. Yeah, I hate mealy protein bars. Great taste. I like them. I've only tried like 3 flavors, so I want to try kind of all the flavors to find out the right mix. But right now, my favorite one is the chocolate cookie or cookie dough. I think it's great.
You would love the cookie dough.
Yeah,
one.
I'm a big cookie person.
Well, I think it's really key to our group, our user group. They're into fitness. They're into faith and recovery and all these things. And so that's really interesting. For me, it's been Morgan's mugs. I am obsessed with coffee. I drink all the time, and I always have a special mug. And so today I'm representing Coastal Wildflower Salon. The ladies have been asking about my hair, and so I've got this really great opportunity. I also am not getting paid to represent, ways to get your dignity back. Ladies, you want to look good, you want to feel good, and so for me, Coastal Wildflower Salon, you can actually call in to Coastal Wildflower and you can get my formula if you have your hair girl, right? And I equate this to like the mechanic, like you have your mechanic, you have your hair girl. It takes a long time to develop that relationship. And we obviously have a big fleet of mechanics nationwide, over, I think it's like 3,500 plus locations now.
Amazing group.
Yes, amazing group that will install the ignition interlock device. So my version of mechanic is my hair girl at Coastal Wildflower Salon. And you can visit them at coastalwildflower.glossgenius.com. Her number is 928-925-9106. And if you have your own hair girl, you can actually call in and ask for Morgan's formula.
Nice.
And she will give it to you so your girl can replicate it. Or if you're local, you can actually ask for the Morgan Ryan now, and you will get the whole kit and caboodle and all the things that I do when I do treat myself to the salon.
That's amazing.
Yes. So Reddit community, we love you. Thanks for the Morgan's mugs shout out and the Izzy Riz. Let's get to our Reddit question with that. Izzy, take it away.
So good question. Will my car stop in the middle of the road if I fail a reset while driving? So no, that would be very unsafe. Your car will not shut off in the middle of the road. Pretty big myth when it comes to IID community. So how it actually works is while you're driving, your device may ask for a random rolling test. Basically, that's to make sure that the person that initially blew into the device is still driving the vehicle.
Interesting.
So it's a safety precaution.
So the device will continuously ask me for tests as I'm driving. It's not just to initiate the vehicle.
It's not just so once you start it, that's the first part of it. But then yes, as you're going, it'll ask for a retest.
Great.
And basically you have a certain amount of time to re-blow into the device to keep the car. But it won't turn the car off. So if you do fail that retest or you don't take it, your vehicle will keep running, but it will record a failed test, and then you'll get an alert or a horn. But depending on the state laws, that's a different consequences, but the car will not turn off.
Okay, that would be terrifying
Yes.
if the vehicle just shut off in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I think most
If I failed
vehicle
the test.
manufacturers, most safety industries, people do not want cars just
Yeah.
stopping in the middle of the road.
We exist, and inside of public safety, that's
We
the
are a
opposite
public
of
safety company, correct?
Okay, great. Good to know. That was a really good question from Reddit. Reddit never disappoints.
No, they don't.
Okay, so with that, thank you so much for joining our episode today. All things ignition, interlock, car breathalyzer, device conversation. You can get your first 2 payments free with coupon code stigma-free.
Yeah, or go ahead and call 844-766-0156 to speak to one of our program advisors. They're here to help you start on the journey and answer any specific questions on your journey.
You can also visit www.smartstartinc.com for more information. And with that, I am Morgan Ryan.
And I'm Izzy Varela.
Until next time,
Stay safe, drive smart.